we're going to exchange our ideas about the possibility or prospect of being successful in life, actually from two different or distinct factors on the basis of them. Whether you are genetically predisposed in a good way, it means the nature, it refers to your nature,
Right.
or whether you actually your nature maybe actually is not that good, but you are living in a promising atmosphere. So I believe that I really believe that actually nature is more important than nurture,
Nurture.
and because I think that the most important reason for which I just think in this way is that if you if, for example, your IQ is high, IQ is more or less related to your nature. So if you actually, if you are predisposed, if you have that predisposition or natural ability actually to become, to do everything that really must be done and to take care of your life, and so you can even compensate for, let's say, miserable conditions around you. So what do you think about that?
In my opinion, on the other hand, actually, I think environment and upbringing is more important than nature, because, as you said, IQ is so important, actually, and I think, and based on some researches, some genes, for example, cannot be activated without certain environmental inputs. Okay, what about that? So we cannot separate these two from each other.
Yeah, they are not separable, they are inseparable, but actually this is just a matter of superiority. And you said that some genes are there. So it means that you must have those genes. And if you don't have those genes, even environment cannot do anything for you.
Okay, but if you have that, if you have some genes, and for example, you are not experienced, or actually you don't have that certain environmental inputs, what about that situation? You cannot use your genes, because based on current researchers, our genes may predict how wealthy we are. Okay, but we cannot say that because of this issue we can wait that we will be rich, right?
Yes, if you have some hidden genes, or let's say dormant genes, that is, as you said, actually they are not active. So it is actually there must be some genes to activate the hidden genes.
Right. Okay, but if you have that genes, but you cannot activate that, what about that situation?
So you are not really, let's say,
optimistic about this issue?
No, I just try to say that your nature is not that good, because if your nature were good, you would be able to activate all the necessary genes that are, let's say, required or requisite for a healthy lifestyle, and also a happy life.
Okay, but it is completely related to and depends on our environment. And we cannot think that because we have these genes, we can activate these in the future. With what? With which tools, let's say?
Yep. Actually, I think you are contradicting yourself, because you don't have those genes that are necessary to just switch on the hidden genes. You just have to just deal with that, and to surrender. And as from another, let's say, point of view regarding this issue, from another perspective, suppose that you are, for example, generally a person is lowbrow, and also he or she does not have a very high level or a suitable level of IQ, And so the environment cannot do anything about it. So the person actually is doomed to be unsuccessful, to lead a normal and ordinary life without any chances of prosperity and success. But from another, let's say, point of view, I'm sorry I'm talking too much, but the other point of view is that on the other side, a person who is very intelligent and also highbrow, smart, and he lives, for example, in the poorest area in the world. Because of the fact that he has that natural ability and predisposition or readiness, he or she can do what necessary changes that are needed, to get himself out of that miserable situation and to make some positive changes to their lives.
Right, but I completely disagree with this statement, because if you have, for example, high IQ, it doesn't mean it means that you can learn many things more quickly than others, and you can deal with problems. And it doesn't mean that you cannot be as successful as others with high quality, because you can learn many things with low quality. Of course, slower than others. However, you can be successful like them.
Yeah, but actually, you are forgetting something, and it's all about the factor of environment. So if you are a lowbrow, I mean, not very intelligent, and also your environment is not promising either, so you don't have any chance of happiness or, let's say, well-being.
Okay, but as I said, because of that genes that you said, we should already had these genes that we can activate in the future. And I disagree, and because I'm not an expert in this topic.
I'm not an expert either.
Okay, and we should do some research about this issue, because it's a complicated issue. Yeah,
the questions here in this activity are all complicated.
Otherwise, exactly.
It would be useless, And this activity is not supposed to be completely based on research and scientific research, because it's a game, Sometimes I told you I have some opposite ideas, but I do my best to just convince you that you are wrong, and it is your responsibility to do the same thing. Matter of fact, I believe that if suppose that there is actually a situation with two possibilities.
Right.
You can be either, let's say, intelligent or completely a lowbrow. I mean, I'm talking to any person, a stupid person, but in a very good situation, in a very good atmosphere.
Right.
Which one of these two has the chance of becoming actually successful in life? It is clear that the first person actually, because he's stupid in a very great place, cannot become successful because he is a stupid or she is a stupid,
Right.
But a very intelligent person, even if he or she lives in miserable and wretched environments, can turn out to be really successful, because actually the person can make necessary changes.
Right, you're correct. Right.
Anyway, but as a matter of fact, I did not mean that. I believe that nurture is more important. I was just playing a game with you, as it is typical of this activity. I believe that even if you do not have enough, let's say, giftedness or talent, you can do really whatever that is needed to compensate for that shortcoming. Yeah.
Right. What about mental illness? Can we talk about that, because it's completely related to genetic? Okay.
Mental illness or disorders, if there is something wrong with a person mentally,
Mm-hmm.
okay, so it means that actually the concept of nature has not been taken care of. So
Mm-hmm.
and the person actually we cannot make any estimate whether the person can be successful or not, because it depends on the degree of that mental disorder and also the complexity of that.
Right. And do you think that's mental illness is completely related to uh, genes or the environment?
Uh, it could be both. If the
Mm-hmm.
person actually is very young, so it must be related to their genetic structure. It means,
Right.
for example, maybe actually he or she is autistic,
Mm-hmm.
suffering from
Yeah.
autism, autism,
Yeah. Autism.
or
Yeah.
or Mongolism or Down syndrome situation. But for example, these two cases show themselves at early ages without
Mm-hmm.
any relation or link to the upbringing and atmosphere. But
Right.
if a person, for example, lives in a situation that is so stressful, and for a
Mm-hmm.
long
Yeah.
period of time, for example, he or she has to live in a stressful situation, job position that is so stressful, and because of that, maybe that person develops some mental disorders. So in
Mm-hmm.
this situation, the person has got those diseases or the mental disorders from the environment.
Right. Yeah,
So,
you're correct. But what about twins?
uh-huh.
Take identical twins, for
Mm-hmm.
example. They
Okay.
share genes, right?
Right.
Yet, if one twin develops a kind of illness, the
Mm-hmm.
other twin only has a 50%, I think, 50% chance of also developing the condition.
Yes, because actually they have the same genetic structure,
Gene,
identical
right.
genes, identical twins,
Yeah,
So
yeah.
they have the same, let's say, exactly the same genetic makeup. But it shows that the nurture has also its own value.
Yeah,
you know
exactly.
we have had so many cases that for example two or identical twins, for example, one of them turns out to be really rich and the other one really poor, you know
Exactly. Yeah.
although they had the same genetic structure.
Genetic
So here it
structure.
shows that nurture is really important.
Yeah.
And recently there is a very prominent, I think, consideration, and it says nurture your nature. Nurture
Mm-hmm.
as a verb means try to polish up your nature, even if actually, for example, you don't have a very high level of IQ. You can do something to improve it, to elevate the level of IQ.
Mm-hmm.
So with the help of upbringing, with the help of atmosphere, and also with the help of paying attention to your surrounding, for example, getting organized, setting
Yeah.
goals, and so on and so forth. Even if, for example, you have some mental problems, or physical handicap, you know,
Yeah.
for example, you are
Right.
born with just one leg. It's
Mm-hmm.
it's not your fault, but
Yeah.
you can do something about it.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so that was a nice conversation and I enjoyed so
Yeah.
much.
I enjoy it too.
Okay, let me see.